hurting you. So it's almost like you have to basically rethink that, like rethink, okay, I have this trust issue. How do I get beyond it? How do I open up myself to love? Maybe I trust too quickly. Like maybe that's something that you need to learn. Maybe I need to take my time with people. Like maybe when I get into a relationship, the relationship moves too fast, and it gets too serious too quickly. Maybe you need to take more time getting to know a person gradually, in order for that sort of trust barrier to come down. So it's all the ways that you connect with other people. And so it might not always be a relationship for you. It could be other vows, like maybe a vow that you took is, oh, I'm not gonna overspend a certain amount of money, which could be a good vow. But then if maybe it makes you miserly, like I'm not gonna give a penny to anybody for anything, or you become like really selfish, then it's like obviously now the vow is turned into a negative thing. So it's kind of saying, so you sort of kind of have to make that distinction. Am I making positive vows or negative vows? Am I making sort of positive commitments to certain things in my life, or is it a negative type of commitment? I'm using the word commitment, but there's a better word that I could be using, but I can't really, I can't come up with it right now. But it's just saying those kind of things. Whatever you do, whatever you commit yourself to, allow it to bring either joy, healing, or an openness to your life, not a closed, shut off boundary like a wall. So that's sort of your shadow that you have to assess at this time. Are you creating walls or are you being open? It's kind of like, what's the worst that could happen? If let's say you were somebody disappointed you in some kind of way, what's the worst that could happen if that was the case? Sometimes we so much want to avoid being hurt, like that we then create this coldness towards people. So you have to kind of be careful with that. Obviously you don't want to be like a complete doormat, but at the same time you don't want to be like this stone-faced person, this cold-hearted person either. So peace and many blessings to you, Virgo. This is your shadow card for you to explore. I'll be seeing you. Bye. Okay, so the next reading is, well, the next sign we're exploring the shadow. Where did we go? Fire signs we need to go to. So we're going to go to Aries. What is your shadow card at this time, Aries? Your shadow card is Egypt. Okay. So Egypt as a shadow card has to do again with travel. It's so funny that you got Egypt because a friend of mine is in Africa. Like she lives in Africa, and this card like just made me think of her. Even though I don't think she's ever actually been to Egypt, but she's in Africa. Wait, and Egypt's in Africa too. But Aries, I always feel like this when you get a location card, it could be a need to kind of either to travel to a new environment, a new place could be beneficial to you. In your case, it could also be the opposite. It could be maybe that you traveled and you're going through some kind of challenges. To clarify, underneath is the wisdom card. So it's kind of saying wisdom. Maybe there's something that you knew that you should have been prepared for or should have done, but you didn't do it. And you knew better, but you didn't do it for some reason. So maybe you either went somewhere or you did something like in a new environment, even if it's not traveling outside the country, you are in a new environment and it's telling you have to operate with wisdom in this environment. Maybe because you're going to be put in a scenario that could be challenging towards you, and this wisdom will come in handy for you because you've been in this experience before, or you've had a similar experience to this in the past. So what this is kind of telling me in terms of your shadow is, how do you use the information that you have acquired? How can you use your experiences from the past and the things that you know in the most beneficial way for you? your shadow could be saying, maybe some of you feel like you don't know enough, or you're not intelligent enough, or you're not capable in some kind of area, and it's saying yes you are. Like, don't let insecurities hold you back. Don't make what other people think about you hold you back from believing in yourself, or believing that you're not smart enough, or that you don't know enough. Value the experiences that you've had in the past. Like, don't let them hold you back either. Like, I'm kind of seeing this pyramid as like climbing all the way to the top. So some of you guys, you may be climbing to the top like in certain areas of your life, but you need more wisdom. It's like the higher up you go, you need more wisdom and understanding for the higher levels. Maybe you don't know everything you need to know, but that wisdom will come in time. So don't be afraid. Like, I'm kind of drawn to this unicorn as well. Like, sometimes unicorns, because they're different obviously to horses, because this is like a mythical creature. A unicorn might feel like they're the odd one out, like if they were among a bunch of horses. So you might be feeling like the odd one out in your situation. So it's kind of saying, when you feel like the odd one out, what wisdom can you attach to that can be beneficial to you, that can still empower you in your situation? Because there's nothing wrong with being unique, there's nothing wrong with being you. And sometimes people just don't understand that, or they don't accept us for who we are. And so you might be kind of maybe either down on yourself because of that, or you might be questioning yourself because of that. So your shadow is basically saying, how can you embrace your uniqueness? How can you embrace, who you are with all your quirks and your charm and everything else? So that you're not dependent on, what people think of you, how they feel about you, and all that kind of stuff. It's like accepting being different and really celebrating your difference among other people. So that's your card, your shadow card, Aries. The next reading is for, who's the next one going to be for? Leo. So let's see what shows up for Leo. Leo, your card is male and female. So you might be at odds in your relationship with somebody else. So this could be a family member, friend, a partner. Some of you might be at odds in terms of your identity, because female or male could even speak of, being a person that is struggling with even their sexual identity as well. So it could be saying, how do you merge those things together? How do you dissect those things? Because it's a shadow card, and the first message I was getting is like two people that are at odds. It could be saying that your shadow is how you deal with other people around you. What is it that you need to do to form closer connections? Oh, the deck. Oh my goodness. I feel like you're getting more than one card. Most of the people got one card, most of the signs, but I literally tried to place the deck down and it like slid open onto a card. And I usually feel like that sometimes that can be a sign, and so I kind of feel like I need to incorporate it. So you got trust and faith, but then even under that is the Father card. So some of you could be at odds with your father or a male figure in your life. Maybe for some reason you didn't trust them. You placed your faith in them and they let you down. And maybe because of that, there's some issue you need to dissect in that. Like, maybe it still affects your relationship with that person today. Maybe even for some of you, that person may have passed away and you still kind of hold a resentment towards them because of certain things they did to you in their life. It could be a father figure as well, so it may not be your biological father, but another important sort of male in your life. With all of that, that's a big one to dissect and to go into when it comes to your healing. but it's one that can be really beneficial when you do healing surrounding your parents and maybe issues you've been through with your parents or with your family. You'll find so much will shift inside of you when you're able to sort of bring that up and kind of dissect what that's about, and maybe how though that dynamic has played itself out in your life in a way that may have challenged you growing up or may even still challenge you as an adult. So it's kind of saying it's worth exploring any issue you have. Also, just with men, I would say, like, even if you're um um uh even if no matter what you are watching this reading or how you identify, I don't know why, but I'm still sort of set on this being a sort of a male energy. Sometimes male energy isn't always connected to just men though, because we both regardless of how you identify, we contain both inside of us. So there's no such thing as, okay, a man that identifies as male that is just strictly masculine, or or the reverse for women. We contain both energies within us, but I kind of sort of feel this more sort of masculine energy coming through. So I don't know if there's this feeling of betrayal by men or by a man, as somebody you looked up to, someone that was important to you, that needs addressing. Or just maybe there was even a woman in your life that maybe had a lot of that kind of energy too, and maybe that had some kind of effect on you also. So it's kind of saying that that's where you need to explore. And that could just be, even if it's not an outside person doing something or that has done something to you, it could just be what you need to explore within yourself. How do you use that male energy in your life? Does it make you proactive, a go-getter, a leader, very forward, and more of an outward energy? Um, maybe at times you need to be a bit more, you need to bring it in a bit more, and kind of balance it out a bit more with that feminine energy and be a bit more receptive and nurturing, and kind of so that it's balanced. Because I feel like there's a lot of, and sometimes that energy can sometimes be so fiery, it can almost be an aggression. So it's kind of, it's your cards are really saying that there needs to be a balance between the energies for you. And I feel like more feminine energy sort of needs to come through. Maybe that could be why two people could be at odds at this time as well, because of something being out of balance energetically. So that's your shadow card to explore, like how you deal with masculine energy, or um, more of that kind of energy within yourself, Leo. So let's see what the last sign will be. What is our last? Sagittarius. So let's see what shows up for Sagittarius on this Halloween. So Sagittarius, your card is, ooh, Sagittarius. You got the wisdom card as well. But I'm gonna pull another one too for Sagittarius. Ooh, authority figures and wisdom. Ooh, so how do you deal with authority figures, Sagittarius? This can be legal systems, um, the police. This could be authority in your job, like your boss. This could be your parents if you're a child. Basically, anyone that kind of holds almost like an influence over you, that you may be obligated to listen to or to follow. Um, and it says wisdom. I kind of feel like maybe some of you guys don't listen to like authorities in your life. Like you kind of like to do your own thing. I think that's a bit of a Sagittarius thing. You kind of like to do your own thing, maybe not listen, maybe be a bit rebellious kind of thing. um so like you don't like to be controlled, you don't want someone to tell you what to do, you kind of want to go and figure things out by yourself and develop your own wisdom. Like maybe you don't listen so much to people's advice when they're giving you advice even. So it's like you want to learn things the hard way sometimes, and I think that can be as a means of still wanting to be the rebellious. So it could be to do with some childhood thing of like rebelling as a child that you still sort of carry with you as an adult. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I have a little bit of that energy, so I can understand um that rebellious streak, like I'm going to do what I want, whatever. But at the same time, sometimes it can be difficult to live your life that way. Because people are usually used to people falling in line and doing as you're told, and not answering back or not questioning, and just doing as you're supposed to. But I feel like sometimes you do need to question. Sometimes you do need to be like, oh, well, why should we do this? Like, why is that necessary? That's, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you should no longer be asking people why. But sometimes it can be how it's perceived when you're asking questions, or how it's perceived when you rebel. You can do it in a way that is you can rebel in a way that is more kind of like, okay, like you're inquiring and you're asking. Or you can do it in a more sort of disrespectful way, where you're just pretty much like, well, just two fingers up to them kind of attitude. So it's kind of saying, explore at this time why you feel the need to tread the path less taken, basically. Are you making life more difficult for yourself intentionally? Like, are you, and then, complaining afterwards? Because like they say, with every action, there's a reaction. So when you, again, challenge authority, which, like I said, isn't always a bad thing. But at the same time, sometimes there can be consequences to that. Like, sometimes you may lose a job because of that. Sometimes you may have issues in your relationships because of it. Again, sometimes you can have issues with the law because of it. So it could be saying, is it always necessary to be rebellious? And how do you go about that rebellion? You have to assess at this time. Are you doing it in a helpful way, or is it in a harmful way? Or are you just, being like a rebel without a cause kind of thing? So peace and many blessings to you, Sagittarius, and happy Halloween to all you guys. Bye.